So Nancy Pelosi was planning on cutting a deal with the right to solidify her position as Speaker of the House. And now the left has decided, how about we show some teeth and put an end to that? So there were two rules that Pelosi was about to cave on. One of them is PAYGO, which is an attempt to kneecap left-wing priorities by saying, oh, you have to pay for it as you go, and it has to be deficit neutral. Now notice, they never, ever, ever say that, do that when the Republicans are in control, and also when it's right-wing priorities, whether it be corporate welfare or Wall Street bailouts or endless war. They only trot that out when it's for healthcare, education, or things for the people. So that's what this is. They say you can't add a penny to the deficit when you have left-wing priorities, but when it's right-wing priorities, like a massive tax cut for the rich, like they just did, add to the deficit away. And nobody even talks about, this is fiscally irresponsible. So that's one of the rules. The other rule was, honestly, probably even worse. It's a 3/5 majority rule in order to ever raise taxes on the middle class. Now, at face value, that sounds perfectly fine, right? Because you go, well, I'm not in favor of raising taxes on the middle class. I've often said on this show that I've never met a middle class tax cut I don't like. But here's why that's a Trojan horse rule. Because take, for example, Medicare for All. If you do Medicare for All, you save working people money. You save middle class people money. But what happens is you get a tax increase, and since you've eliminated their private premium, you save them money. So in other words, just to use rough numbers here, let's say that you pay $300 a month, and you're in the middle class, and you pay $300 a month for your health insurance. Well, what happens if I told you we're going to raise your taxes $150 a month, but we're going to eliminate your private premium? You'd take that deal, right? Because you're saving $150 a month. So that's basically the gist of what would happen under a Medicare for All system. You do have a tax increase, but you eliminate the private premium, and people net save money. So to implement a rule that you need a 3/5 majority to raise taxes on the middle class ever, well, that's just a way to stab in the back any chance of ever getting Medicare for All. So it's a terrible rule. Well, guess what just happened? Take a look at this. This is from Common Dreams. They say, in major victory for progressives, Democratic leadership abandons tax rule that would have made bold agenda impossible. The removal of this harmful provision will help progressives pass college for all, Medicare for all, and other bold proposals that will deliver meaningful relief for working families, declared the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Now, they haven't won yet on PAYGO, but they did win on this 3/5 rule, which is a crucial victory. Now, I hope PAYGO is next on the list of things where they fight and win. Because now, guys, the left has teeth, and they're going to show them, and they're going to use them. For the longest time, the left has been full of pushovers. And, the argument is, get serious. If you want to be serious here in Washington, D.C., you always cave to the right. Well, now we're finally back to an era where the left says, no, we're not going to do that. Now, by the way, it wasn't always like this, where the left was always weak. But ever since corporate money got into our politics and big money got into our politics, which was the late 1970s and onward, you haven't had a left wing with teeth. You've had centrist, corporatist neoliberals. And now we're just getting back to a point where there's this backlash and there's this big left-wing wave, and now we're getting principled politicians despite the deep corruption in the system and people taking the no corporate PAC money pledge and people only raising small dollar donations, and they're agreeing to a list of Medicare for all and free college and a living wage and to actually fight on these issues. And now the left is finally back, and they're finally showing their teeth, and they're not gonna get walked all over anymore. And this is very similar to what happened. This is the mirror image of what happened with the Tea Party on the right, where under Obama there was the Tea Party wave, and that was the allegedly anti-Republican, nominally anti-establishment right, and they started saying, no, we're not going to take your shit anymore, John Boehner and establishment Republicans. We're here to push our agenda. And now the left is doing that, and we're doing it to the establishment Democrats, and this is the first real victory where it is clear change in a positive direction. Now, what did they do? Listen, I don't know, but my guess is they just drew a red line and said, oh, we're going to block this. Like, oh, you think you're going to do a 3/5 rule and you're going to kneecap our entire agenda? How about no, and we block it and we don't let you do it? How about that? So, yes, you have to be willing to draw red lines and play Machiavellian politics and twist arms to get your way. And now the left is just realizing that. And also, let me say this. What the left needs to understand now is you have a bully pulpit that the establishment types don't have. So with the establishment types, they're most at home on Morning Joe and shitty programs like that who nobody watches, and to the extent that anybody does watch them, it's not like people are fans of the show. It's just, hey, where do I go to get my bullshit conventional Washington, D.C. bubble wisdom? And they turn on Morning Joe. Nobody's looking to Morning Joe for like, hey, what's really going on here? Give me the straight dope. Give me what's actually happening and make me feel inspired by this and let me take part. No, it's where all of the rich, moneyed interests, the elitists, the pro-establishment types go to get some of their information. So if Nancy Pelosi or any of the, say the Blue Dog Democrats want to make an argument and get people on their side, they go on Morning Joe and the response is fucking crickets from actual people. The left has a bully pulpit. That bully pulpit is new media. Now, it also works like this with the right, to be fair. I mean, if you have like the actual Kool-Aid drinking far right wingers, a guy like Louis Gohmert, he has the bully pulpit of like, Mark Levin, the right-wing talk radio hosts, people like that, where they do have some following, and they do have some people excited, even though I would argue that their numbers are way smaller than ours in terms of people really politically engaged. But the left has a bully pulpit, and they should be using it. So, in other words, Ro Khanna, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Mark Pocan, Pramila Jayapal, like, they represent an ideology that's popular. And we got their back because they got our back because we know that they actually believe it and are fighting for it in terms of the policies that we all agree with. So they have that bully pulpit and they should use it. Imagine if Nancy Pelosi or any of the establishment types stab the lefties in the back and keep doing it. Well, we're just going to keep raining holy hell down on them and we're going to keep getting more involved. We just did the segment before. It was 5 Democrats who basically sentenced Yemeni children to death by saying we should keep backing Saudi Arabia in this fight. So what do? We just said, hey, you're going to call these people and you're going to tell them that's not acceptable and that you're not going to get reelected and you're in the pro-genocide caucus and you have blood on your hands. So, and that moves people. When you have numbers like this, it moves people because you're going to flex some muscle and let them know, no, you're not going to do this thing. This is not okay. This crosses a line. So now that's the point we're at with the left, and we need to keep flexing muscle. And this was a giant win for us. Next on the list is PAYGO. Let's knock down PAYGO, and let's make sure that we can get left-wing priorities through, and that the left continues to fight and continues to rise.